Earlier today, I showed you how to make Christmas bows. Each weekend, I'm going to try to make a craft for you to make real easy. I did the bows, and I also write children's stories, which where I was on public television. I did some shows with about Annabella, a little girl and her adventures. Sometimes I kind of think maybe Annabella was really me, but it's a story about her and about her village and all the little people that she encountered on her adventures. And this one is about Annabella's adventures. She goes to Alfred's village to find they lost their Christmas, and Annabelle just couldn't understand this. But when she was asleep, she always has these adventures, and little Buttercup comes along and sprinkles little magic dust on her and takes her on her adventures. And this last night in her sleep, Annabella was awakened by Buttercup, and she told Annabelle they had to go to Alfred the elf's village to help. They needed some help, and so she got dressed because they had to go to the village for a special meeting. And the journey didn't take long because it's all magical. And when they arrived at the village, everyone was glad to see her and Buttercup. All the little people knew that they could count on Annabella. She always solves her problems. So the next morning she met with Mia Mouse, Sir Grasshopper, the mayor of the village. Alfred was there, and there's Annabella and Buttercup, okay? Now, all these things are made out of recycled paper and clay. It's amazing what you can do with a little bit of ingenuity and cardboard. But anyway, getting back to the story, they had their meeting, and they explained that they lost their Christmas, and she wanted to know how that happened, and they didn't know how to tell her. And then finally, Mia Mouse, a cute little thing, she spoke up and said it was because of Yogar the troll. He's the one that snuck into our town hall on Thanksgiving night and stole our calendar that told us what day Christmas was. Well, Annabella told him not to worry, that she would try to help them. Now, it's 1 week till Christmas, and it was getting very cold. Everybody was unhappy, and they didn't know what to do. Mia Mouse was so upset, she didn't want to put up a tree. But Annabella, of course, as she saves the day, she gave them hope. And she said, we don't have to have a calendar. We already have Christmas in our hearts. We should not think about gifts or other material things. Well, all the little village people, they kind of agreed with her. And here's some of the little village people and the little animals and everything, and Annabella's, with the little houses. So their friends, they all met on Christmas Eve. And it so happened that one of the acorn babies found the calendar. Now they knew that tomorrow was Christmas, and they couldn't be happier now that the calendar was found. Well, it seems like during all this going on that two strangers wandered into the forest. They were cold and hungry, and they both were at a loss because they had no place to stay. Well, Annabelle and Buttercup saw them and led them to shelter under the acorn baby's family tree, which would be the Christmas tree, or the acorn baby's tree. Yeah. Well, everyone in the village were very curious. They had never met any other people except for Annabella. They trusted her because they all knew that she would keep the secret about where they lived. Annabella reassured her friends that the strangers were all right and they could be trusted. The two strangers told her they would have a great present for all of the people in the village by bringing Christmas back to them. And do you want to know what the great present was? Well, It was the baby Jesus. He's the meaning of Christmas. And sometimes we forget what Christmas really means. It's not about gifts or money or material things. For a moment, you could, for a moment, you can't take things with you when you leave this earth. The only gift we could take with us is Christ. So please never lose the meaning of Christmas. Thank you. And I've got a lot more stories to tell you.
Next week.
Next week about...
And more crafts.
And more crafts. We're going to do crafts made with flour and salt.
Clay.
And it's a clay, and you can put cinnamon in it to make them smell good.
But don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Like my daughter's little doggy thought the food that looked so real, she ate it and she got upset stomach because she thought it was edible. But don't eat it. And you can decorate it with ribbons and glitter. And the basic thing for the clay is your flour and salt. And I'll give you all in Elmer's glue. But I'll give you those directions next week. I want to keep you curious what I'm doing and how things are made. And I hope you enjoyed my earlier video about the making Christmas bows. And thank you and happy crafting. Thank you.